Perfect. Welcome, everybody. Of course, you can get yours from the event. All right. So, as many of you, and my computer's acting up. Of course, I would expect nothing less of my computer. Let's see. All right, I'm just sharing this to Facebook. And I'll type that so that you guys can see me better. All right. There we go. We'll do this. There we go. My computer. There we go. All right. So I apologize. The last couple of weeks have been a lot. I have been struggling with a whole bunch of migraines, so I haven't done the last couple of weeks. And this week's is like 2.5 hours late. But this week's was 2.5 hours late for a really good reason. Um, so for those of you, I'm trying to find a good angle. This is there, maybe. Seems so out of frame for whatever reason. There. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone now. All right, everybody. Welcome so much to week 6 of our technique masterclass. I have had the migraines from hell. I have had to um, get on some prednisone, so I apologize for that. But how is everybody's week? It is a beautiful start to the week. If you're in sunny Pittsburgh, it is bright out. Um, there is currently, so yes, welcome in everyone. Okay, so since I'm not at home, I will not be able to uh, look at chat today. But I will do my best to answer chat later, and I will do my absolute best as well to still be able to toss in my um, my live stream um, links. So for week 6, we are going to be talking about content strategy and authenticity. So our first resource, if it will let me, is going to be CapCut. Of course. I apologize because I don't have my dual screen. CapCut did not want to give me the link. There we go. Maybe. There we go. Oh, let me. Here. I did not mean to highlight or to redo my live stream. What were my followers? Sorry, my highlights. All right. Whatever. I'm going to make do. I apologize. So I'm not going to be able to tag everybody like I normally do. See if I can do it that way. I don't think it'll work that way, but we'll try it. All right. It's not a smooth live stream at all. But honestly, this is a little bit about what we're going to talk about today is authenticity and being able to see those little cracks in the foundation that just remind us that we are just like everybody else. So, honestly, I think that this was a perfect way to start out this stream. So, let's be honest, if you had time, money, and a film crew, you'd have a gorgeous commercial with drone shots and slow motion close ups of your products. But you don't have a film crew. You have a smartphone, a cracked screen protector, and about 4 minutes between customers and your kids' pickup time. Do you want to know what the good news is? That low budget chaos is actually your superpower. Welcome to week 6, why documenting the grime beats manufacturing the shine every single time, especially in our neighborhoods. Oh, gosh darn it. There we go. All right. So we're going to frame this just a little bit for you. Think of this. When I say document, don't create, I mean stop trying to be a full-time movie studio and start showing your real life as a business owner. Content marketing research says keeping the same thing that people are obsessed with, authenticity. One major survey found that 86% of people say that authenticity is important when deciding which brands they like and support. So customers are also way more likely to trust and act on our user-generated content when it's real people, real moments, rather than a polished brand. That's exactly what your lo-fi dirty boots content really is. So in economically stressed communities, people don't have time for fake. They want to see who you are, how you work, and what your place really looks like on a Tuesday when you're so tired that you can't bother to pick up that pile of toys in the corner. That's exactly what we're leaning into. Just like today, Leon, our photographer, and I just got back from Steel City Bar and Grill over on the north side, where we were working with Heaven and Iona's Foundation. And we were one of their sponsors. I got to tell exactly how I met Heaven and how she personally was able to make a huge difference in my life. And so, now I'm here. I'm at my best friend's house because in a little bit we have to go get my kids from custody exchange with my ex. Um, and so it was just easier to come back here, be able to hop on, do my live, even though it was going to be much later than normal, and get the live done while still being able to support a dear nonprofit that is close to my heart for a dear friend and still be able to get everyone all the stuff that we need done. And is it perfect? No. Am I having tech issues? Absolutely. But effective. And this is part of what makes that authenticity so much more important. What are you doing? So here's the fun part. The thing that you feel so insecure about, your shaky phone video, your messy counter, your muddy boots, is often what makes people want to trust you. Studies around user generated and real content show that people consistently rate everyday imperfect content as more authentic and more influential than brands built on ads. In one analysis, 79% of people said user generated content impacts their purchasing decision. Another set of data found that 90% of customers say authenticity is important when choosing brands, and said that user generated content is often the most authentic type of content. That translates into a shaky smartphone video of you unloading boxes in the rain, kids' backpacks in the corner is way more believable than a high definition ad with actors pretending to be local. Does anybody else get annoyed by Ryan Reynolds and his mint ads and his mountain ads? Don't get me wrong. I appreciate Ryan's low cost for cell phone service, but he is trying way too hard to make it look like he's not trying. And it feels so inauthentic compared to if you see somebody in a local bar having an event. So, another way that this translates is a 30-second clip of you sweeping the floor, wiping the counter, and talking about why you opened up this shop is significantly more emotionally sticky than a polished stock footage montage. Your community is not looking for influencers. They're looking for evidence that you actually do the work. So visualization by industry is what we're going to work on next. So what I want you to do is take a moment and picture your actual business type by industry. So if you're a salon, I want you to imagine how you're going to show color bowls and foils, messy sinks, and you laughing with a client using their permission. Or let's say you're a nonprofit thrift shop. You want to show the back room on donate. You want to show volunteer sorting and how that chaos turns into a neat rack on the floor. Or a small contractor or repair service. You want to show the mud, the boots, the before and the after, not just the pretty finished shot. Let's make this real for you. On your phone, open your favorite social media app, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. Scroll your last 10 posts or stories that you've actually watched all the way through. How many are perfect, polished brand videos? Or how many are regular people talking, showing their day, and showing a mess turning into something better? And if you realize that you're more likely to watch something that looks like your real life and not a glossy ad, that's exactly how your customers want to feel about your content. So, here is a wonderful way to break out of that. I like to call it the bucket tripod. We want to kill the production excuse. So, this is my favorite part. The bucket tripod is a high production value is used where a high production value is a barrier to entry. So take a minute and tell yourself, all I need is a camera, some lighting, a mic, a script, and an editor. Your content is dead at that point. It's over. It's also died in your brain. It's way too many steps to include, and you lose that authenticity once you start getting all the fancy stuff. The best bet and the best rules to follow here is to prop your phone up against a tool or a bucket. Use a stack of canned goods if you need, a shoebox, whatever's around. Hit the record button while you're actually doing something you needed to do already, stocking your shelves, cleaning fixtures, fixing something, grabbing packages, prepping for the next day. And talk like you would to your favorite regular who comes in and asks, so what are you up to today? You're not just creating a commercial, you're documenting your day. And that creates what I call a transparency moat. You're showing so much of the behind the scenes that big corporate competitors often miss. And you're making it look awesome because you're not looking fake. You're showing the grind to get to the top where the big corporate competitors are just showing you what it looks like once you've already made it there. If a national chain suddenly posts a video of the CEO mopping floors, everyone's like, all right, what are you selling this time? But when you do it, It's just a normal Tuesday. So the tool for this is going to be CapCut. Simple, and you don't need anything fancy. You can add stickers, some text, or simple music. Maybe throw in a transition, and you're done. You don't have to cut anything. If you want to, and there's some dead air, go ahead and cut that. Don't get fancy. Add some quick captions, and then post it directly to TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube. You can even use the auto captions and speed controls so that you can do before and afters or time lapse style videos without needing to re-record anything. Then you're going to have this, I shot this customers and you made it look intentional, which is a great way to grab their attention. So grab your notes. We're going to create 3 lo-fi content ideas that you can record this week with no ring light required and fill in the blanks. Our first one is, this is what my shop looks like while we're open. Here's a part of my job that nobody wants to see or nobody ever gets to see, and maybe you get asked a lot of questions about. This is also something that you want to show what it takes for your product or service to be ready for the customer. So if you're selling coffee, show yourself packing somebody's order before you ship it off. Now, plug in your reality. For a coffee shop, beans delivery, cleaning the espresso machines, testing syrups. For boutiques, unpacking boxes, tagging items, steaming clothes. For nonprofits, prepping clothing racks for a free event, setting up chairs for a workshop. Circle the easiest one that you could literally film tomorrow just by propping your phone up against something and pressing the record button. That is your first bucket tripod. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. So, with everything that we're talking about tonight, the documenting, the consistency, the posting, it all works better when your back end isn't on fire. If you're thinking, I love this idea, but my inbox is a monster, my schedule is chaos, my bookkeeping is a spiritual attack, that's where businesses like Cosmic Lotus Consulting quietly comes in on as your remote online business manager. Think of me as an administrative assistant, but with so many more skills. While your film is in the Grime, I help make sure that your admin world and your operations don't implode just so you can keep showing up online. We'll talk about that option, but for now, I just want your head on your dirty boots are not a liability, they are your best ad. So we just talked about documenting your dirty boots in chaos. Now we're going to talk about why the internet is obsessed with watching dirt disappear, pressure washing driveways, edge trimming overgrown lawns, painting over disaster walls. These videos are where grime vanishes in one satisfying swipe. And that's not an accident. That is dopamine marketing, and it's built directly for you. It is built for every business that has kids to pick up, houses to make sure that are clean, laundry to do, people living real life looking for products just like yours. So, what is the dopamine response? The dopamine response is exactly this. Your brain is constantly scanning before and after stories for problems and solutions, satisfying cleaning and transformation videos that tap into that by giving tiny, fast wins. We see a mess, we see the effort, we see the instant visible progress. That triggers small micro dopamine hits as your brain says, ah, we just solved something, even though you're just sitting there in your pajamas. Psychologists and marketers know that visual progress, like grime being blasted off the pavement, completion and reward, which is linked to a dopamine release and feelings of satisfaction. Viewers describe this as oddly satisfying for a reason. When people repeatedly get that satisfying feeling from watching your content, your work becomes sticky in their social feeds. They stop, they watch, and then they remember you. For you, that means that every time you pressure wash, repaint, edge, clean, organize, or restore something, you're not just doing a job. You're creating potential dopamine clips that make your brand addictive in a good way. Visualization by industry is exactly what we're going to jump into next because I want you guys to be able to see how this works no matter what industry you're in. So, for contractors and landscapers, pressure washing driveways, mowing tall grass, edging sidewalks, those are all great ways to incorporate that. For retailers, you want to show organizing chaotic shelves into a perfectly phased colored block display. Nonprofits turning a messy donation pile into a neat, ready to shop selection is another great way to highlight exactly what you do without needing to get too fancy or without needing to offer overtime to your employees just to make some beneficial content. So, here's going to be what we're going to be talking about next. It's called the satisfying scan. Here's our reflective moment for our masterclass for this week. So on your phone, think about the last oddly satisfying video that you got stuck watching. Was it cutting soap? Was it power washing? Carpet cleaning? Cake frosting? Or I will admit that the last stuff that I got stuck binge watching was or your child support bestie. Um, she's on this kick with some 32-year-old man and his mom who's got a power of attorney, and that whole thing is just a train wreck waiting to happen. So raise your hand if you've watched at least one for absolutely no logical reason other than my brain liked it. That same brain lives in your customers. So if you're doing any kind of visible transformation, cleaning, fixing, painting, restocking, sitting on free content that their brains already want. So let's talk about the before and your personal little trust fortress. In low trust markets like neighborhoods that have been burned by bad contractors, shady landlords, or businesses that pop up and disappear, people don't believe what you see at first. They believe what you show them. And social proof research keeps finding that visual proof beats claim every time. Testimonials and case study videos that actually show the transformation are far more persuasive than text-only claims because they let viewers see the results of those receipts are what sells your customers. When someone sees a clear before and after, it shortcuts the doubt in their brain. They don't have to guess if your work is for real. It's right in front of them. Plug in my computer. See exactly what I mean by tech issues and why it tends to work. Because I know I'm not the only person who has had to do an oh shit quick setup on their work and forget to plug in their laptop. So again, here's authenticity marketing right at its finest. So when you post a transformation clip from overgrown jungle to clean lines or destroyed wall to fresh paint, you are stacking irrefutable evidence right in front of your customer. In your neighborhood, where people have every reason to be skeptical, these videos say we finish, and we take great pride in the end result. No caption, no fancy voiceover, no sales pitch needed. So we're going to do another visualization by industry, but this time we're picking a few new ones. So if you're a house cleaner or a boutique owner, I want you to close your eyes and picture how this will work for you. So you want to pan across a disaster kitchen and then cut to the same room, but sparkling and gorgeous, and just show that you are excited and happy to show the owner your total and complete results. For a boutique, show a crowded, messy rack and then cut to the curated outfits in nice, neat hangers. For a nonprofit, show an empty event room and then cut to the full room. People engaged, smiling, and using your services. Or if you are putting on an event, show people interacting during that event. Show that you are building goodwill and community support using your event. So let's build your before and after shot list. On your notes, list 3 things in your business that go from to oh my God, this is awesome. So once you have those 3, I want you to then write next to each one before, what does it look like at its worst? And after, what will it look like at its best? So, for example, for lawn care, use knee-high grass and clean stripes. Retail, boxes everywhere to shelves fully stocked. Nonprofit, empty food shelves to a stocked pantry that your nonprofit help donate the food for. Um, Circle 1, that you think that you could record this week with just your phone from the same angle before and after. That's the start of your before and after moment. So here's a few practical tips on how to film satisfying clips. So the good news is you don't need a camera crew. You just need consistency and a half steady phone. You can get simple tripods that can sit on any small object. You don't need one of the big floor tripods. Use this simple formula. Lock angle. Put your phone somewhere that it won't move, a ledge, a bucket, a deep tripod, some spot for the before and after. I highly recommend the Gimbo. Uh, it is a cute little tripod. It can stand on just about any surface, and it actually has a camera to follow you. That's typically what I use when I'm recording anything, just because you can really get those action shots. Capture the mess. Do a 3 to 5 second slow pan of the before state. Do the work. Don't overthink, just do your job. Capture the result from a single angle. The same pan, now clean and then finished. Edit on your phone using the free tools in CapCut or even the ones from your phone's gallery editor to trim, speed up, add text, or music. If you want extra help, Vimeo has a free guide with mobile video tips and techniques that have basics like framing, lighting, and sound for smartphone video. It's so simple, you don't need to be a tech pro to get it completed. So all of this powerful, but still all of this is powerful, but still one more thing is on your plate. If you're thinking that I can't film the grind because I don't have the brain space to organize my life, inbox, staff, bookkeeping, all at the time, Cosmic Lotus will live in the background for you while you're out there creating these satisfying before and after moments. So you don't need to become a full-time content creator. You just need to press record on the work that you're already doing and have the systems behind you to keep showing up. All right, guys, we are at the favorite part for me of the week, but because I cannot look at the chat, I am going to work through this as if you guys had asked the questions. I know normally I usually for you guys to facilitate some of the answers, but I can't see chat today. We will just work through it and we will use my facilitation notes for the questions that sometimes don't get answers. So this week has been all about expertise signaling. If the room has been quiet for you, you want to lean into the lo-fi trust concept. The idea that that shaky vertical video of a roofer in the rain is 10 times more trustworthy than a $10,000 polished commercial. So we just spent roughly 30 minutes talking about why your smartphone is the most powerful tool in your shed. And no, I don't mean for scrolling TikTok. I mean for proving that you aren't a scammer. Many of you are terrified to hit record just because you think you don't look like a news anchor. Newsflash, nobody trusts the news anchors. Actually, nobody trusts the meteorologist either. So, I don't know what everybody's expecting, but if you have to work around full makeup, I wouldn't trust you anyway. But they do trust the guy with the dirt under his fingernails. Since you're all sitting there in silence, probably because you're worried about what your hair looks like, let's talk about the grind. So, our first question is going to revolve around the news anchor. So, who here is terrified of being on camera because they think their brand needs to look more like a news anchor to be taken seriously or like a high act? Again, think the Ryan Reynolds ads. That's all you need. We have been conditioned to think that professional means suit and tie. But in the trades and local retail, something like this and is going to go much farther than a suit and tie. Suit and tie often signals I'm the guy who's going to overcharge you to pay for my suit. While people like me, the consumer and media research finds that things like uncanny valleys show when something looks too perfect or artificial, people get a subtle warning. When local businesses try to look ultra polished, it can actually trigger that reflex for people to think, oh my God, this is fake. This is AI. This is something that isn't actually happening for this business. So, vertical lo fi video is the correct language of trust. It looks like real life and not a commercial. So raise your hand if you've ever seen a high-end commercial local contractor and thought, there's no way that that guy actually knows how to swing a hammer. Come on, we've all. So our next question is going to revolve around confidence in the boring. So what is the most boring part of your work that actually signals more confidence that $10,000 polished commercial ever could? When you think branding is the after photo, but the confidence signal, don't know why I couldn't come up with that word. Sorry, brain fart. It's been a long day. Is in the during. It's the way that you prep the area. It's the way that you tape off the edges. It's the way that you clean your brushes, label bins, stack materials, reset your station the same way every time. That boring, repetitive stuff proves that you have a system. If you show me 15 seconds of you perfectly edging a lawn or taping off a window, God, never again am I going to have a whole bunch of teenage girls before I've got to work. If you signaled more expertise, you've then signaled more expertise than any slogan potentially could. So, what is one task that you do that you find totally mind numbing, but customers always stop and watch? That right there is your content. So, let's shout out that boring. Let me know in the comments what boring task you find mind numbing, but people are always watching you do or asking you questions while you're doing it. What is something that you're doing in your business, your shop, your nonprofit that really gets people talking that you don't think anything of? So our next question is going to talk about mud versus stock photos. So if your brand was a 15-second satisfying video of you working in the mud, they build more trust than your current stock photo website. So, stock photos are the hallmark of. If I see a contractor on your website wearing a pristine hard hat and smiling at a blueprint that's clearly upside down, I'm just going to tap. A satisfying video, like pressure washing, carpet cleaning, or digging a clean trench, gives a little microdopamine hit that then reveals real effort. It proves that you have the tools, the stamina, and the willingness to get dirty. So, think about your current website or even your Facebook page if you don't have a website. How many photos are of you physically in the mud of your business versus some generic man at work that you happen to find on Google or Pixabay? Which one do you think Mrs. Higgins down the street is going to trust more when she is picking comes to her house? I can tell you, not going to be the generic man that does not look like he has worked a day in his life. So, what we're going to talk about now is the 86% that want the grime. So, why do we think that branding means manufacturing a product that shines and glitters and glows? When 80% of customers actually want to see the grind of the work, they want to see you doing the dirty work that they don't even want to think about. Shine is a mask. Grime is transparency. Show when you're having trouble. Show when you're struggling. If you're not feeling good, snap a quick video. Just say, hey guys, I'm sorry that my illness is having to disrupt your time at my shop because I'm not there doing the straightening up that I normally do or whatever. Make it into something quick and fun. Let them see that you too just get sick like a normal human. That shine that people are thinking that their business needs can actually be a disadvantage. It can then look like gentrification. It can look like new money isn't that rooted in the community. The grime, the boots, the sweat, the germs, the showing up with 3-day-old puke on you because your baby just threw up for like third time and you've got two other sick kids. That imperfect shot that signals that you've been here, you're working hard, and you're part of the fabric of the neighborhood. Show why they can't live without you because you're one of them. You really get it. So if you had to choose between a painter who showed up in a spotless white jumpsuit or a painter whose clothes are cut from the paint of the last 5 jobs, who are you going to hire and why? So this question talks about the trade secret fallacy. What is the one secret of the trade that you're hiding that would actually brand you as the smartest person in the room if you had filmed it? We all have the curse of knowledge. We think that our tips are too simple to share, or we're scared that people will just do it themselves if we show them how. Guess what, guys? Spoiler, they're not going to. They will watch your video on how to spot a roof or 3 signs that your brakes are unsafe and think, wow, this person really knows their shit. I'm going to hire them so I don't have to do it because this looks like a lot of work. They are getting that dopamine hit without having to do the work. Then they're going to hire you for giving them the dopamine hit. Sharing secrets builds authority in branding. It moves you from the typical laborer to a consultant in your customer's mind. It then fixes you as the expert in your field. And everybody wants to hire the expert. So, what's a quick fix or a red flag in your industry that most people don't know? Tell us right now in the comments. Guess what? Congratulations. You are now one step closer to becoming the smartest person in any room. So our next last question for tonight is going to talk about face versus hands. You have to make a video right now to save your brand. Would you show us your face, the owner, or your hands, the expert? This is the ultimate debate. Showing your face builds personal connection, but showing your hands builds technical trust. Sorry, I have to scroll down just a bit because it was cutting off the remainder of my notes here. So we'll give you the answer. The hands win the first 3 sets, and your face will win the last 3. So for people to stop for the expertise, they want to stay for the human. So they want to see you physically doing the work, but then they want to see your gorgeous, glorious face showing them that you're here to really connect with them. So who here are willing to film their hands working tomorrow, but is still too shy to show their face? It's okay. Answer in the comments, you won't be shamed. Let's just start with the hands. Who's going to commit to one 15-second hand video this week? Put it in the comments below and give me what topic you plan on showing me this week. So, before you go run off to set up your next sponsored event or film your hands in the mud, let's talk about why most people never actually post anything. It's because the rest of their business is already on fire. You can't add more to the fire because it's just also going to catch on fire. You need to get your stuff out of crisis mode and into content creation mode. You don't just have a content problem. You have an operations capacity problem. And it's hard to film, edit, and post consistently when your inbox is overflowing, your schedule is a mess, and your board wants the minutes from 3 weeks ago's board meeting, and you're coming up on the next one. Your staff needs direction, and your accountant is emailing you vibes and threats. It's not what we want. This is exactly where Cosmic Lotus Consulting comes in. I work as the Moat Online Business Manager. So again, administrative assistant, but with more skills for small businesses and nonprofits in neighborhoods just like yours. I handle the admin backbone, so you have the brain space to show up as the expert on camera. What that'll actually look like is inbox and calendar management, so you can actually know what's happening and when. Standard operating procedure creation, so that tasks post the before and after video and follow up with leads don't just live only in your head. It's also on a system that brings it to your team as well. Board governance and support, scheduling, and meeting logistics so that nonprofits don't drown in paperwork. We do light travel coordination and employee admin so that you are not stuck in the logistics all day. We also do bookkeeping prep so your accountant isn't wanting to strangle you at the mention of what your tax season is going to look like. Look, guys, I'm just saving you an early grave on that one. You'd never want to mess up your account. But because you showed up today and you did the work in this series, I'm opening a limited set of lo-fi, high trust, functional ops new client spots with a 2% discount on your first month. My normal 10 monthly package is normally $1,450 because you were at this workshop. The discount then drops to $1,160 for your first month of support. That's $290 saved for deciding that your business deserves more than an I'll figure it out later. I also know some of you are operating on razor thin margins, but are doing the absolute critical work for your community. So here's how I build equity into CLC. I take 2 pro bono clients per year, usually deeply rooted community businesses or nonprofit economically disadvantaged areas. And for folks who don't qualify for the full pro bono or have missed the opportunity for this year's pro bono and have to be on wait list for next year's, and truly can't swing the full price of services, offer sliding scale options. This means that an extra questionnaire, some basic proof of income, and we make sure that those reduced rates go to the people who need them the most. So if your brain is going, I want to film, but I need someone else to hold the clipboard for my business, this is your sign. There would have been a QR code, but at the moment, again, I cannot see chat, so I will put it in a little bit later. When I put that into the comments, make sure you scan the QR code. Grab my business card. Just come up and say hi. Lo-fi trust to me before you leave in the comments so I know that you're in this and that we're going to work together potentially as a cohort. We'll then book a short call and look at your real operations mess and map all of that out and how I can help keep your back end steady while you're becoming the most trusted brand on your people. So you bring the grime and the proof, and I'll bring the system so you can keep hitting post without need to burn out. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate all of your patience today. I really appreciate everybody hanging out with me. There are a couple of links that I did not get to add, but I will add those a little bit later after I get back home from grabbing my little minions from their visitation today. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate everybody's patience, even though I was like 2.5 hours late. But again, it was for a good reason. I didn't completely just drop the ball on pushing the time back for this week. So thank you so much for those of you that joined me. Thank you again for your participation. Anybody who to chat, I will go ahead and answer it once I get home tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your